5 years to the signing of the Abraham Accords and almost 2 years through the war that have tested these accords through fire. And we could say that they have proven to be resilient and even to deepen. The skies are open. I once missed a connection flight from London to Israel, and as there are almost no flights from Europe to Israel, I got home to my son's wedding by flying through the United Arab Emirates. Trade is in the billions. There's partnership in technology, in security, and we cannot take this for granted. Exactly 50 years before October 7th, Israel, despite being attacked by its enemies, dozens of nations broke off their diplomatic relations with Israel. And after 5 years, it's a time to think about what has made these accords to be resilient, to know what are the next steps. How can we develop them? In a nutshell, it goes back to the name. The name explains why these accords are so much more warmer than earlier peace agreements with nations such as Jordan and Egypt. With Jordan and Egypt, the name of the peace accords named after foreign places that had nothing to do with the Middle East, whether Camp David or later the Oslo Accords. But here, in a nutshell, it's about the name, the Abraham Accords. Abraham, a figure, a symbol of the shared identity of the people who actually live here in the regions. So what I'd like to argue is that in addition to shared interests of Israel and its neighbors in the Middle East, there is another force at play here, that of identity. A shared identity gives a spiritual dimension to these relations that make it much warmer. I'd like to go through several countries, examples in each of them to make this point. In Abu Dhabi, a few years ago, opened the Abraham Family House. And in Abu Dhabi, a few years ago, opened the Abraham Family House, invoking not only Abraham, but that very powerful word, family. There they have 3 houses of worship, a synagogue, a mosque, and a church. All the same size, despite there being fewer Jews in the world, in Abu Dhabi, as those other Abrahamic traditions. But in that, I find very moving the use of the word family. To say, we are family. In fact, many Jews take great pride in the phrase, people of the book, used to refer to the Jewish people. Very few of us know the origin of this phrase, people of the book, which goes back to the Quran, which dozens of times referred to Ahlu Kitab. And in fact, the original in Arabic is much warmer than its lost in translation of people in the book. Ahlu means family. It's really family of the book, which is closer, much more intimate than people of the book. Yes, we are family. We are part of the Abrahamic family. A friend of mine, the chairman of the Ministry for Defense and Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, Dr. Ali Rashid Al-Nuami, when asked at the beginning of the war, what's going to be with the Abraham Accords, his answer tells it all. He said, the origin of the Jewish people is not Paris, it's not New York, it's here. This is their past, this is their future. Israel is here to stay. After the Chabad Rabbi Kogan was murdered in Dubai, Dr. Ali traveled specially to Israel to console Rabbi Kogan's family. In my many trips to that region, I have experienced firsthand that warmth, solidarity by many of the people there. And from the eastern part of the Arab world, we can now go to the western part of the Arab world. Morocco is part of the emerging peace agreements between Israel and its neighbors. Before the war, I was in an event in Rabat, Morocco, the N7, where Israel and the 6 Arab nations who have peace with it came together to talk about how to promote coexistence in the Middle East. The king's primary advisor, Andrew Azulai, was moved to tears when he spoke about the constitution of Morocco that acknowledges the Hebraic Jewish roots of the Moroccan nation. There was an auspicious time because the World Cup was held in Qatar on the day of the conference, and we decided to do something truly important. We prayed all day, and after Morocco's victory against Spain, we danced all night. And the warmth that I've experienced in my many trips to Morocco comes from the spiritual dimension. To quote the King of Morocco, King Mohammed VI, said that if there are three Abrahamic faiths, it's not enough to tolerate each other, because if so, why did history unfold for there to be three Abrahamic faiths? It must be to bring blessings to one another. And indeed, this is what I experienced on all my trips to Morocco. And yes, during the war itself, I've been there a number of times. Once at the invitation of a group of imams that asked us to come for joint study. And in the course of our visit, with permission from the royal palace, we went to give prayers in the inner sanctuary of the tombs of the kings of Morocco, where is buried King Mohammed V, who famously stood up to the Nazis when asked to turn over the Jews, and King Hassan II, father of the current king, who would commemorate every year the birthday of Moses, one of his beloved prophets. So yes, Morocco is an example of coexistence, and I feel this is much more valuable than oil in other nations, and this is a reality that they must export to the world. This rising feeling of spiritual connection is true in many of other Arab nations. In Saudi Arabia, there's been a dramatic change from the Wahhabism to the much more modern Islam, led by the leadership, religious and political, of Saudi Arabia today. The primary religious organization in Saudi Arabia is the World Muslim League. When I last met its leader, Muhammad al-Isa, I gave him a copy of the Torah translated into Arabic. He was deeply moved and asked me, by any chance, is this a translation of Musa ben Maimon? I love Musa ben Maimon. I told him, actually, this is a translation of Rabbi Saadia Gaon, but he was also very special. After he was convinced, he gave me a big hug. Saudi Arabia is the land that brought Islam to the world. It is essential for the people of Saudi Arabia to realize peace with Israel is not a rejection of their Islamic tradition that they are so proud of, but a fulfillment and realization for the Abrahamic religions to live together in a shared future. And this is why our organization, the Or Torah Interfaith Center, sees in promoting Jewish-Muslim religious fraternity as the game changer and be able to promote and expand the Abraham Accords for all the region to see it is not only in the best interests of all coexistence, it is a fulfillment of our deepest identities. There's a beautiful ayah, verse in the Quran that turns to the people of the book, Ahlul Kitab and Muslims, calls upon them to hold on together to the rope of God and not be divided. To remember when there are enemies and God brought us together, brought our hearts together to make us into brothers, to realize that our deepest identities, our deepest beliefs bring us together to a grand story of fraternity together and a future for all the people of the Middle East.